so back in 2009, there was an American study done which calculated that poor communication skills were costing American business $26,000 per person per year in lost income. 26,000 plus, and that's in American dollars, and that was 9 years ago. So translate that to now. What impact is it having on your ability to earn if your communication skills are not red hot? Okay, so that's the first question to think about. Then, armed with that information, how are your communication skills? What are you doing? Are you red hot? Are you on the mark? And I've completely forgotten where I'm going with this, so please excuse me, I'm just going to quickly grab my notes. So yeah, how do you stand out from your competitors? What is it that makes you different? Because you want your avatar to be able to get your services or your product, and in order to do so, they need to know about you. How are they going to find out about you if you don't tell them? And how are they going to trust you if you don't actually make that communication with them? Because we all know that we don't like to be sold. We like to buy, but we don't like to be sold. So this is another way of thinking that what is it that you are able to express to get your avatar exactly what you want to say to them. So you can do that personally, face to face, which, as Debbie said, is a bit time poor because you've got an awful lot of people you've got to get round. Or you can do it with mail shots and marketing, or you can even do it through video. And that's where things are going these days. There are, in fact, some corporate companies who are stopping accepting written applications. They're giving you the parameters and they want you to produce a video. You were saying about interpersonal skills reducing. Ooh-wee, yeah. We're going to come on to that a bit in a minute. So around particularly video work is something that I do an awful lot of work on. So what I'm going to do today is give you just an overview of the work I do in the Ultimate Communication Mastery System, which is the program I run. So you're going to hear a little bit about it, and I want you to think about this in terms of where you are at and how you can move forward with that. Let's get going. Are we still connected? Yes? Right. Okay, so the first P to consider, not in green. See, I was listening last time. Actually, no, that's not the one I'm going to go with first. Back to being not perfect. This is the one I want to lead with. Your purpose. What is the reason that you're doing anything? What is your purpose, your intention? Have you got your purpose worked out in terms of your marketing? What it is you're trying to achieve? I mean, how many of you had a purpose for coming today? How many of you actually set your intention? Anybody want to share?
See you and
Okay. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I look to see how people presented themselves.
Got it. Thank you. So you actually came with that intention in mind. You had your purpose. Beautiful. In terms of your conversations with anybody that you're meeting, have you got the end in mind? Can you reverse engineer it? Do you know where you're going with this? Something to think about with your purpose. The next one is, what is the next one? Yeah, what is the next one? Forgive me, people. Yep, it's people. People or person? Who is your avatar? Have you actually got it down very clearly? Have you given them an agenda? Do they have an age? They may even have a name. You've worked out what their socioeconomic status is, their relationship status. You need to know who you're speaking to, because that will affect the language that you use. Gentlemen, I'm picking on you for a minute. How many of you would use the same language at the footy with your mates as you would have done with your grandmother? I rest my case. Okay? So you need to know the person that you are talking to. Now, if you are talking to, forgive me, Dominic, I'm going to use you as an example. For somebody whose English is not their first language, you're not going to use Shakespearean English, obviously. But you also need to be careful of the sorts of turns of phrase that just trip off our tongues. In the UK, we used to talk about it raining cats and dogs. Doesn't happen often here, but the point is, if you get somebody looking out the window, you know they haven't understood you. Watch out for the blank face. Think about things like that. Even for native English speakers who are immigrants, watch out for cultural references. You should have seen my face when my cousin told me about my thong tan. Those of you who don't know what thongs are in the UK, come find me later. Okay, so you need to know who your person is, who your people are. Think about the actual content that you're talking about. Have you hooked them in? If they're kinesthetic thinkers, do they feel you? If they're visual thinkers, have you painted a picture that they can see? If they're auditory thinkers, are they getting your message loud and clear? If they're digital thinkers, have they got the idea? Does it make sense to them? So that's all to do with the words, the actual words, which only take up 7% of your communication. Then we move on to, you've had your purpose, you know what the end point is. What's the energy you're bringing to the situation? Are you coming with enthusiasm? Are you coming with passion? What is powering you? Okay? Because your purpose and your power will be projected long before you even open your mouth. Okay? So have that in mind as to what you're doing. We're thinking about the energy. I'm also getting you to think about how you use your voice. This is not exactly accurate when it comes to my pie chart, but 38% of how you're communicating is done on your vocal ability, okay, or the tonalities it's sometimes known. So at this point, I'm going to step out of being an Australian, which I'm not officially yet, and tell you about the thing that's known in the linguistic world across in English as the Bondi lift. You know how Australians end sentences with an up, which is fine when you're down the pub yarning with your mates, but not in a sales situation, not in a marketing situation. You need to exude credibility, reliability, and if you're ending every sentence with an up, you're not going to cut it. What you're after is the command tone. This is powerful. This carries weight. It's not apologetic or weak. So apologies if I've upset any Australians here. Just be aware of your Bondi lift. Okay, so purpose, people, power. Then we have a whopping 55% of what you communicate being visual, being in your body and in your facial expression. Okay? There's a couple of things I could have mentioned earlier on, and let me go back to this for a second. Pitch is also important. Now, ladies, close your eyes. Think of Russell Crowe in his gladiator gear.
Yes.
Would he have been a credible actor if his voice had been at this pitch? No.
Would I carry the same weight of credibility if my pitch was like this?
I don't think so. Okay? So beware of, again, the whole package. You've got to be congruent. How many of you have been in a situation where something didn't quite work and you felt there was a vibe there that wasn't quite there?
My accent?
Yeah, that's the other thing. With accent and speed, if you again know that you have a strong accent, slow things down. Okay, do you remember when we had Dean here the first time? His feedback was, dear love him, he's from Dublin. Yeah. I've nothing against accents, I love them, but just beware that if you do have a strong accent, or you're speaking to a non-native speaker, you've got to slow it down. So where were we? Back to the 55%. Yes, it's got to be congruent. The most extreme is sarcasm, where your words, your tone, your body language don't match. You know, sort of, sorry your dog died. Yeah, you know I'm really not genuine about that. But that's the most obvious one. But think about it from and you'll get people who are enthusiastic about what they're telling you, and you get the nod. It was such a shame. That's a very obvious head shake. But it can be at a micro level, and sometimes you'll not pick it up consciously. But if you see somebody back on video and you look at it, you'll see the very tiny micro movements, nods, shakes. There can be vocal quality. You can tell when somebody's nervous because the quality of their voice tightens up. This is me with my clinical head on. As a speech pathologist for 30 years, I've got a very keen ear and eye. That's where my perfectionist streaker comes in. So it's all got to be congruent, okay? Then this is a big one. How many of you have been in a restaurant and watched diners who are more present with their phones than with each other? Yeah.
Let's hang out.
Yeah. Have you been at a party or a networking event where you've been talking to somebody and suddenly you'll be aware that they've looked over your shoulder and given an eye flash to somebody? And at that point, they were no more present to you than those diners were to each other, but they were to their phones. So that's what I would say. If you are not fully present, you can forget the rest of it. Because you can be beautifully congruent. You can know your purpose. You can know the person that you're talking to. Language. You can be powered up and energetic, including the right tone. You can be physiologically all there. But if you are not present, forget. If you are thinking about, I don't know, let's have a situation where you're talking to somebody in a sales environment, and if you're thinking about what you got for tea tonight, or that next client that you're working with, you can guarantee that the one in front of you is going to sense it, and you've lost that sale. So it really is super important. Now, I've done a very, very quick overview here of things that I cover in much greater depth with the Ultimate Communication Mastery System, which is the program that I run. Now, I'm working not with anybody, it's not for everybody. I'm working with people who are fast-paced, they're prepared to take action and work on their communication skills to maximise the effectiveness of them so that they can move forward. And whether that be in a presentation situation, they reckon there's 6 different situations that you need to be able to present to in terms of, that I'm thinking corporately here in terms of board of directors, your C-suite, all of that sort of thing. But in terms of who you need to be able to speak to, I'm happy to take on, I've got opening for 4 people at the moment in the programme. But in order to do that, I need you to have come up with your 3 main competitors and who the 3 particular situations that you need to be able to present to. And that could also include video work. And that's where I'm really moving forward in terms of having signature videos on websites and things. You've got to be able to maximise your impact. And that is around how effective your communication skills are. So if you want to work on that and you're prepared to put in the effort and the time, and obviously there is an investment financially as well, but that's where you're going to be going forward. So my system is very analytical because of the background that I've got. I look at every single thing. I've got a 56-point assessment that I use. So, little Miss Perfectionist, I apologise. But in that respect, that's where it really comes in. So, if this is something that you want to work on, come and see me afterwards. I can go through some of the systems with you, give you a bit of further in depth to it. But I'll come on a phone call with you in the next couple of weeks and we can work out what it is you actually want, okay? because it will then be tailor-made. You can have a look at the programme and see what is useful to you, but that's where I'm coming from today. So please come and talk to me afterwards. I do have my calendar with me, and we can work out what
Are these one-on-ones or a group?
These will be one-on-ones. If you want to have a group situation, then that can be engineered as well, obviously for a smaller cost, but you don't get
And do you run them all year?
Yes. Yeah, but at the moment, as I said, I've got an opening for 4, so it's going to be a first come, first served. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye for me.